Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about 4 specific issues with the PlayStation 4 controller, which is the Dualshock 4 controller. The controller itself is very ergonomic. It is quite a big improvement from the Dualshock 3 controller. The controller fits really well in the hands. These buttons feel great, grips are excellent. The placement of the sticks is fine. The D-pad is excellent. The L2 and R2 triggers are very nice. But there is a specific issue with these buttons and with the sticks as well. So I wanted to talk about those. So the issue with the analog sticks is that it's made out of this really odd textured plastic, which is kind of hard at first, and it has this like nice grippy texture, but after a little usage it starts to degrade and it becomes brittle and it really wears out, and it also softens the plastic, and it becomes very rubbery, especially on the sides where you use it the most. For example, I play a lot of FIFA, so it constantly moves left and right. And there's a difference when you move to the right versus left. When you move to the left, you apply force. With your thumb, you pull the trigger this way, so you're not really pushing on this side. You're really pulling it here, and you're applying a lot of force here usually. Now, when you move to the right, usually some people do it this way. I do too. Sometimes I do it this way. So there's a lot of friction and pressure coming this way, which really causes the plastic to really deteriorate and turn into this rubbery, softer substance. That is a huge issue. And it becomes very uncomfortable after a while, where it becomes very slippery, especially if your fingers get a little moist. It becomes difficult to control. In my controller, in this case, the left button or the left joystick, analog stick, is getting worn, and it has some discomfort already because of that. And you can see when I push it from the side, it becomes here very rubbery. You can see here it's getting very soft, while on this side it's perfect. It's just fine. It's very solid. Here it's no longer the case, and the material on top, it's kind of peeling, and it's not the same as this controller anymore. This is more grippy and it feels still fine, but since I use this a lot more, it's a big problem already. This is something that Sony does need to address. It is material quality issue. There is another fix for it. Not really a fix, but there's something you can do. I have purchased these plastic caps that go over the controller, over the analog sticks, and what you want to do is you want to invert them like this, and you put it on like that, and there we go. And now you have a nicer grip actually than the original one, and it should not hurt your analog sticks anymore. So that is a workaround that works really well in my opinion. I think these are better anyway. You can put it on both, or you can just have one, the one you use the most if you want to. I usually put it on both. Another issue is the R1 and the L1 button. They are initially fine, but after usage, they become stuck. In my case, it's the L1 button more than the R1. The issue is sometimes here it gets stuck where it doesn't pop up, and even when it does, there's a slight, there we go, there's a slight delay on that button popping up, which can cause some issues in certain games. And the whole button as a whole, I'm not pushing on the button right now. There's no clicking. This is not the button being pushed down, but it's very wobbly. It is questionable design. I think this as well needs to be addressed and re-engineered. This is not acceptable. A sticky button after less than a month of usage, actually about 3 weeks, and it's already a problem. So there is a way to somewhat fix this sticky L1 and R1 button issue. You can take skinny sharp object, maybe like a knife or something, and you slightly go like this. You can actually pop out the button, and once it's out, you gotta be careful. You don't want to damage the rubber inside. You'll see what I mean. There we go. Okay, here it is. So inside you'll see this these two poles, and there's a buildup of some sort. I assume it's the two plastics, the pole and this little hole rubbing on each other, and there's small particles of the plastic are coming off and causing some sort of additional friction that is causing the button to get stuck. So what you want to do is you want to clean these two poles, and then you also want to try to clean these two little holes in the button. And then once you've done that, you blow it out, dry it up if you're using water or something, and you insert them the same way you took it out pretty much. It's very easy, and that makes it usually better. Now the problem though, it's still there. It is still a faulty, I fear it is still a faulty design. You can still see how it's like they're wobbly, and the problem is most people, when they hold the controller, they are not really applying the force down when they push the button. Usually you hold it somewhat like this, and the force always comes from the side, so the force is always coming this way and hitting the button here and not straight down. So either they need to redesign where they have to maybe angle the button a little bit more, so when your index finger is pushing it from the side slightly, it's hitting it more perpendicular, or the mechanism inside needs to be addressed. This is a no-no. This is a big problem. The third issue I have with the controller, it's battery life. The battery life is quite poor when compared to the PlayStation 3 controller. On a PlayStation 3 controller, I was able to play 20 plus 25 hours before I had to recharge it. So usually after a few days of continuous gameplay, I had to charge it. Now on the PlayStation 4 controller, I'm getting somewhere between 4 hours and 6 hours, maybe around 5. So roughly a quarter of the PlayStation 3 controller performance, which is quite disappointing. I mean, if I'm playing for 6 hours, I have to charge the controller in between, and I don't think this is a good thing. That should not be the case. Another issue is the light. The light is constantly on. There's no way to disable it. That is again a problem for me, because I do not have the camera. So I'm not taking advantage of the light in any way. I do not plan on getting the camera, so there's no benefit to the light to me at all. The major disadvantage with the light being on is the fact that it's constantly drawing power from the battery. So I do not have the option to disable it and save additional battery power. Sony should patch that issue. I hope this is something that can easily be fixed with a software/firmware update. If that's the case, that would make a huge difference in battery life, I would hope. And a second problem I have with the light being constantly on, it's the fact that it causes glare and reflection in the monitor. I want to be able to just turn it off and have it disabled.